Right now at 6, big send-off. The Carthage community comes together early this morning to send off Paralympian Haven Shepherd. Plus, water wars. The city of Humboldt holds a water war downtown. Also, ready for class. Students begin moving into the dorms at PSU. And continuing a tradition, the ARMA community comes together for its 75th annual VJ Homecoming celebration.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Local swimmer Haven Shepherd had a big day today as she heads to Tokyo for the Paralympics. She was given a formal send-off today that included a parade at the Carthage Square, as well as a surprise send-off by her team at the Joplin Regional Airport. The Carthage resident earned her spot on the USA swim team, and she says she's ready to start this adventure and is proud to have such a supportive community.
No, I think it's crazy that our little town in Missouri somebody's finally going to the Olympics on a world-class stage, and I just think it's so cool to have your cities back and knowing that they are excited for you.
The athlete says she's treating the Paralympics like any other race and adds that she's going there to have fun. A man from Bentonville is dead following a crash near Jane in McDonald County. The Missouri State Highway Patrol says 56-year-old Emerson Boshears from Bentonville was riding his motorcycle on Missouri Highway 90 near Jane around midnight last night when he drove off the road and struck a ditch. Boshears was pronounced dead at the scene. Warm again. The sun is starting to shine. Nick Kelly joins us.
Yes, indeed, Chris. Warm, but thankfully not that humid. Certainly a lot better than the upper 90s that we saw back on Thursday. Partly to mostly sunny skies is what we have on top of Joplin. Not a lot of rain on the radar, but a few little stragglers south of Grand Lake and southwest of Bentonville. In fact, we've got a pretty hefty storm just to the south of Siloam Springs, but all of these have been sinking slowly to the south. So I'm still not going to rule out another random shower or storm up until about 8 o'clock this evening. And I know your eyes are drawn to that severe thunderstorm watch out in western Nebraska and South Dakota, but those storms don't have a shot of impacting our weather for the rest of the evening. So most of us temperature-wise are sitting in the mid-80s right now. A little bit of humidity makes it feel like the upper 80s to near 90. But again, any slight rain chances should be done after 8 o'clock. We'll fall through the 80s, 70s, down to the mid-60s tonight. And we'll double-check the forecast again, Chris, later on to see if we can keep these warm temperatures around.
All right, Nick, thank you. A tradition that dates back to the 80s, was stopped sometime in the 90s, is now alive and well again in Humboldt. The Humboldt Water Wars is something the city put on a long time ago, but stopped. However, 2 years ago, it was resurrected by Boulder Humboldt, an organization aimed at improving the community. It was put on hold last year due to COVID, but made a splashing return this year.
It's just nostalgia, and we have all this revitalization coming back. We're just ready to celebrate with our town and everybody from the region, and it's just outdoor play.
Tonight at 10, we'll hear more from some of those in the community that came out and get you up close and personal with the water itself. Well, today was the second day of move-in weekend for Pitt State students. Student volunteers say this year's move-in was more normal than last year's because it was the first year they were able to help out again. One volunteer offered advice for any new students or incoming freshmen at Pitt State.
I would say my biggest piece of advice would be surround yourself with the people that you want to be. Don't conform to anything. Place yourself in an environment that you like and that you're comfortable with.
Pitt State's move-in day will continue on Sunday, and students will return to class on Monday. Folks in and around Arma, Kansas had a blast as they spent the day honoring their very own 4 state heroes. It was all part of Arma's 75th annual VJ Homecoming celebration. The party celebrates Arma veterans returning home from World War II in 1946 and featured a ton of fun things for folks to enjoy, including a classic car show, plenty of fun and games for the kids, tasty treats, and a whole lot more. One of the volunteers helping put on the event told us a little more about this event's rich history.
We're proud that we had 3 families that sent 5 boys apiece, and they all survived and came home and became community members. And so every year since 1946, we've had a homecoming, to celebrate our veterans. and to show our thanks for their service.
There's still time to check out all the fun in ARMA. If you head out after the show, you can catch their chili cook-off and then their street dance party, which features a live DJ. A charity golf tournament took place in Pittsburgh today. VetLinks, an organization aimed at getting veterans suffering from PTSD and substance abuse help, hosted their 2021 CovFest charity golf tournament. The event honors Jessica Kavanaugh's husband, Major Brian Kavanaugh, who passed away while raising money to support veterans to get the help that they need. Kavanaugh says the event is a celebration of life and that this event helped his vision of helping veterans come to life.
And what was a vision of helping one family to not have to go through the turmoil that our family did and that how Brian struggled, and to be able to help 100 families at this point, it's absolutely amazing, and we're so proud and we're so honored.
90 players showed up to this year's CovFest, and all proceeds will go towards supporting veterans and their families. It's a stunning reversal in Afghanistan. CBS News has learned the U.S. is preparing for the strong possibility the Taliban will gain control of the nation's capital within days. CBS News correspondent Michael George reports on what could happen next.
CBS News has learned the Biden administration is preparing for the fall of Afghanistan's capital city and is readying a plan to evacuate nearly all U.S. diplomats in the next few days. The Taliban seized 3 more provinces Saturday, moving closer to Kabul. Only 2 major cities still remain in control of the Western-backed government. President Biden held a secure video conference from Camp David with his national security team to discuss the evacuation of civilians from Afghanistan. He also released a statement saying 5,000 U.S. troops will be deployed to help get U.S. personnel and Afghans who assisted in the mission out of the country. And he warned the Taliban not to interfere. At the U.S. Embassy in Kabul, CBS News has learned a burn and destroy order to get rid of sensitive information has been in place for days, and security engineers are destroying hard drives. Kabul's international airport was busy in the wake of the insurgents' march towards the capital. Security was tight as the city's more than 4 million residents brace for a potential civil war or a return to Taliban control.
Freedom, equality, and the woman rights, all of these things are the issues with everyone is concerned about that.
They're killing women who were born and raised here.
Afghanistan's president is ignoring calls to step down, saying he'll continue to work to prevent instability and violence. Michael George, CBS News.
The U.S. State Department has been ordered to get all of its people out of the country by August 31st. Until then, State Department officials will be working to process American citizens and Afghan special immigrant visa applications. We take this time now to honor one of our many four-state heroes. Neil Crone served in the Navy during the Korean War aboard the USS Whiteside, his hometown, Chanute. We're proud to recognize Neil Crone, tonight's four-state hero. Record rate still ahead on the KOAM News at 6. COVID hospitalizations for people in their 30s have hit a record, and sales up. Online mask sales are seeing a big increase. New hospital admissions for COVID-19 for people in their 30s have reached a record rate, according to the CDC. The previous record high rate among people between the ages of 30 and 39 was set in early January. That record high was 2 hospital admissions for every group of 100,000 people in their 30s. On Wednesday, the figure jumped to 2.5 hospital admissions per 100,000. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention blame the Delta variant for the increase in younger people being hospitalized because of COVID-19. As the Delta variant spreads, sales of reusable face masks are on the rise. They've been declining in June and July. The Adobe Analytics Digital Economy Index shows mask sales went up 40% in August. That's for the week of August 4th compared to the previous one. At this point, almost everyone in the U.S. lives in a place with high or substantial transmission rates. CVS pharmacies will start giving a third dose of the Pfizer BioNTech and Moderna COVID-19 vaccines to immunocompromised people on Saturday. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration and the CDC gave the green light this week for additional doses of the vaccines for certain people with compromised immune systems. The drugstore chain says people will be able to schedule vaccination appointments on CVS.com starting Saturday morning. A spokesperson says people will be required to attest to their eligibility during the scheduling process and when they get the third dose. Unhealthy foods make up a majority of the calories American children and teens eat, plus millions of Americans, as we mentioned, will soon be eligible for that third dose of a vaccine. Michael George here again with a look at the week's top health stories.
The Food and Drug Administration has given the go-ahead for people with severely weakened immune systems to get a third dose of the Pfizer or Moderna COVID-19 vaccine for better protection. About 7 million people in the U.S. are immunocompromised because of organ transplants, cancer, and other health issues. Europe's drug regulator is recommending 3 more reactions be added as possible side effects of the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine. The committee says low blood platelets, dizziness, and ringing in the ears should all be added to the label. And ultra-processed foods now make up 2/3 of the calories consumed by children and teens. The study in JAMA found the largest increases in calories came from ready-to-eat or ready-to-heat dishes, including takeout and frozen pizza, burgers, and packaged sweet snacks and desserts. Those are some of the week's top health stories. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Bat Caddy, you heard that right. Later on the KOAM News at 6, a minor league batter calls in an extra player.
But first, we'll see if this break in the heat that we've seen today can keep going for the week ahead when we come back. It is nice that we're finally getting a deserved break from the heat and humidity, certainly after it was downright hot and humid back on Thursday. Thankfully, though, we broke that streak of highs in the 90s on our Friday with yesterday's highs in the mid-80s. We dropped back to 71 this morning and a nice rebound, kind of like yesterday, back near 87 degrees so far this afternoon. We had to deal with a little bit of rain and a couple of light little thunder showers last night into this morning, but in the short term, this afternoon and early evening so far, any signs of rain or thunderstorms have been in our very far southern counties. Maybe a few echoes trying to get going west of Miami, north of Bonita, but the more prevalent echoes suggesting maybe a couple showers between Pineville, Knoll, and over towards Southwest City. There's certainly a beefier storm passing to the south of Siloam Springs. So this is something we'll watch for the next few hours, but I think once we get past 8 o'clock or so, I think we'll be done with our very slight rain chances for the rest of the evening. Looking okay from 7th and Rangeline right now, partly to mostly sunny, sitting at 86. An east-northeasterly breeze. That's always nice to see at 8 miles per hour, but it still feels like 89 because of a dew point sitting in the upper 60s. At least it's not too terribly humid. Certainly, we don't want to go back to those dew points in the mid-70s like we've seen over the past several days. Most of us in the mid-80s at the top of the 6 o'clock hour, but you factor in those dew points, it still feels like we're in the upper 80s to near 90 degrees. But for the rest of the evening, thankfully, these numbers will continue to drop once we get past sunset. Again, maybe a few storms possible up until about 8 o'clock that were dry for the overnight, down to 72 by midnight, and I think most of us will drop back into the mid-60s as we go into our Sunday morning. Not much else happening in the immediate four-state region. Can't help but notice those severe storms trying to get going out in western Nebraska. While those storms are forming on the tail end of our stationary front, those storms will not make it here, but this front will stay in place for tomorrow to give us another shot for a few isolated storms in the afternoon. But once we go into next week, we're going to see quite a change in the upper level setup. But for now, at least we're on the cooler side of the jet, which means the 90s are going to stay away once again as we go through into tomorrow. So again, we'll keep an eye on a few isolated showers or storms overnight, but generally fair skies, partly cloudy to mostly clear as overnight lows drop back into the mid-60s. Then we'll do it again tomorrow, back into the 80s before you know it. And during the late afternoon into the early evening, a few isolated storms. They should not be too terribly heavy. Still something I'll watch though. As far as temperatures go, we'll start at 66 in the morning, 83 by noon, pushing afternoon highs just like today, back near 87 degrees. Any thunderstorm chances we have going into tomorrow night will dissipate by about 10 or 11 o'clock. Then we'll do it again Monday. Maybe a few isolated storms in the afternoon with, again, temperatures looking okay. Temperatures around 86 degrees, or at least in the mid-80s. But on Monday, look at this upper low wanting to develop out in central parts of Kansas. This is going to hang around and pass overhead as we go through Tuesday and Wednesday. And certainly by Wednesday, this could be our best shot for scattered thunderstorms with mostly cloudy skies, keeping us warm and out of the heat, especially for Wednesday afternoon. Then that upper low kicks out of here, but as it does, we'll see another cold front being dragged in by the jet stream, and that is going to continue to keep pretty much the heat out of the picture for the next several days and keep some rain chances around too. 87 tomorrow, 88 Monday, 89 Tuesday, mid-80s Wednesday. Fortunately, Chris, the only 90-degree day we have is Thursday, but not too terrible. 91 degrees, and then we'll be back into 80s with that front by the weekend.
Not looking so bad. I mean, considering where we are, you know, we're wrapping up August. It's usually pretty darn toasty. This isn't too bad. Maybe a little soggy in some areas.
Yeah, but we certainly need some of the rain, and of course, any break from the heat we can get in August, we'll take it.
Nick, thank you so much. Danny Terzer joining us now with sports, something that's not so soggy, and I know that a lot of people are ready for. It's not soggy. Chiefs aren't soggy. That's what we're ready for, the Chiefs. They're not soggy, right?
I'm ready for it.
There's no soggy Chiefs around here, right? Okay,
we
good.
don't want soggy Chiefs.
They are kicking off the preseason in a not-so-soggy fashion.
Yes, they are on the road against the 49ers. We'll hear from Patrick Mahomes coming up. Plus, Wyandotte and Fairland play for the Lucky 7 Conference Tournament Championship. Those highlights next. The softball season in Oklahoma is underway. Today is the final day of the Lucky 7 Conference Tournament. Wyandotte and Fairland meet in the championship game. Great start to the game for the Owls and Erica Schertz. She strikes out 2, then throws a wild pitch. She'll make up for it with this play, tags the runner out at home to end the inning. Alexis Boyd puts the Owls on the board, knocks one through the gap. Keena Webb scores to make it 1-0. Wyandotte responds. Taylor Lundian gets a base hit out to left, and the tying run comes in. Wyandotte finishes this off. The Bears are the Lucky 7 Conference Tournament champs. It's finally time. The Kansas City Chiefs play their first postseason game tonight. The Chiefs travel to San Francisco to take on the 49ers. Here's Patrick Mahomes' thoughts on what he hopes to see tonight.
Going out there and executing in and out of the huddle, making the right calls, getting the ball to my hand, making some plays happen. And then you would always like to score, but at the end of the day, I think if we're the communication, the procedures of in and out of the huddle with so many new guys, especially on that offensive line, I think that would be a win for me just throughout this first game. The 49ers have a great defense. A lot of great pass rushers, a lot of great guys that are still from that Super Bowl team. So it'll be a great challenge for us, and we're excited to go out there and play against a defense of that caliber.
Kickoff between the Chiefs and 49ers is set for 7:30 p.m. In Major League Baseball, the Royals and Cardinals are playing their second and final series of the season. St. Louis took the first series just last weekend, winning 2 of 3 at home. Now the Royals are hosting. They got shut out on Friday, looking to even up the series tonight.
And we did get some late-breaking news in from meteorologist Nick Kelly. There will be no soggy Chiefs in San Francisco.
I wasn't sure where you were going with that, but
no soggy Chiefs. So if you're watching, no soggy Chiefs. We're going to be right back. Tonight at 10, the Carthage community comes together to hold a parade to send off Paralympian Haven Shepard as she heads to the Paralympics in Tokyo. Also, we're taking it to the Humboldt for the Water Wars, and we're heading to the creek, Shoal Creek that is, for the annual Shoal Creek Water Fest. Join us for those stories and a lot more tonight at 10. Well, another sports story for you tonight. During Thursday night's Savannah Bananas game, say that 10 times fast, Bananas infielder Josh Lavender came up to bat with a caddy. The caddy was dressed in caddy attire along with a golf bag with Lavender's bat in it, as well as a range of Fender Lavender also brought a yardage book out. This is what happens when you don't put spaces in. The Bananas play in the Coastal Plain League. According to their Wikipedia page, the Bananas have sold out every home game of theirs since 2016.
Are you sure he's playing the right sport?
He's mixing sports. Danny is the sports expert, though.
Yes, and actually, Georgia, I have a little bit of familiarity with the Savannah Bananas, but they're always up to something.
It seems to be.
This is not new.
So yeah, I shouldn't be too shocked by that.
No, no.
All right. Okay, that's good to know this is normal, though. So what we think is crazy is actually normal.
Well, I wouldn't say it's normal. It's normal for them.
Gotcha. Nick, final check of that forecast.
We're going to watch for a few more storms for the next few hours. Otherwise, we'll just do all again tomorrow. Staying out of the heat, though. Highs near 87.
Danny, quick check in sports.
Wyandotte wins the Lucky 7 conference tournament. Good start to their softball season.
All right, guys, thank you. That's our time for now. Thanks for making us part of your night.